With all of the new pressure on the media this year to tone down the violence in books and movies and video games, no one felt that pressure more than a publisher in Colorado. His name, Peter Lund. His book, Hitman, a grisly, graphic, detailed manual on how to commit a murder and get away with it. As we reported back in 1997, a contract killer followed the instructions in Hitman to execute 3 people in Maryland. The killer and the man who hired him were eventually convicted and sent to prison. But relatives of the 3 victims sued Peter Lund, claiming that he was an accessory to the murders who aided and abetted that crime. Well, this spring there was a surprising and unprecedented settlement to the Hitman lawsuit. We'll have details on that in a moment. First, how this story unfolded as we first reported it. This 8-year-old boy, Trevor Horn, a quadriplegic, was smothered in his bed. His mother, Mildred Horn, was shot in the head, execution style. Trevor's nurse, Janice Saunders, was also shot in the head. All 3 victims were murdered methodically by this man, James Perry, following the instructions in Hitman, a how-to manual on murder. How to do it, and how to get away with it. The sisters of Mildred Horn, members of a closely knit family, were shocked by the murders and disgusted by the book. And they believe the publisher of Hitman should also be punished for the contract killing. Gloria Marie is a computer systems analyst. Vivian Rice is a principal at a school for the deaf. Marilyn Farmer is a teacher at that school.
It's clearly a manual on how to kill. I mean, there's no doubt. It tells you what weapon to use, it tells you how to shoot your victim, and it tells you how to destroy the evidence. So not only does it tell you how to commit the crime, but how to avoid being caught.
Mrs. Farmer insists the book itself was a weapon, just like the gun that was used to kill her sister.
We believe that this book aided James Perry in committing the crime, and therefore Paladin Press should be held responsible.
Paladin Press is owned by Peter Lund. He's the publisher of Hitman.
I have nothing but sympathy for the Horn family. However, I can't accept either morally or actually any responsibility for the actions of James Perry or Mr. Horn.
Mr. Horn is Lawrence Horn, Trevor Horn's father. He hired James Perry to kill his son, his ex-wife, and his son's nurse. When Perry was hired by Horn, he had a criminal record, but Perry had never been implicated in a murder. Before he planned this one, he ordered Hitman from Paladin Press. Prosecutors Bob Dean and Teresa Whalen have worked together for more than 10 years in Maryland. During the criminal trials of Horn and Perry, they called the book A Blueprint for Murder.
Had you ever come across a crime like this before?
No. I don't think we've ever come across a crime where we were able to take a book, look at the book, and see that someone had followed the suggestions in the book.
Look, your book suggests the perfect murder weapon, right? He used that kind of weapon that your book suggested. When he shot his victims, he aimed exactly where the book said that he should aim. At the eyes. Why at the eyes?
Because there will be less blood spatter.
The author also suggests that there should be 3 shots, and they should be to the head.
3 shots?
To make sure you get the job done.
Also made another interesting suggestion, and that was to destroy the rifling in the barrel of the weapon, to take a file, and to run the file into the barrel. Inside the barrel.
Prosecutor Dean says Perry did just what page 7 of Hitman told him to do. Run a rat-tail file down the barrel of the gun to change the ballistic markings. Paladin Press publishes or distributes hundreds of titles. I talked to Peter Lund about some of them.
Forget Hitman. Here are some of the other titles, just a few. Be Your Own Undertaker, How to Dispose of a Dead Body. Guerrilla's Arsenal, Advanced Techniques for Making Explosives and Time Delay Bombs. What is the market?
We sell to doctors, we sell to lawyers, we sell to Secret Service, we sell to law enforcement agencies, and we sell to people who are just interested in the subject matter.
Here's what the sisters of Mildred Horn have to say about you and your publishing house. That your book is a blueprint for murder, that you aided and abetted, and so you were, in effect, a principal in the 3 murders.
Absolute rubbish.
And as far as you're concerned, you weren't inciting violence?
We weren't calling on anybody to commit a crime at all. We were purveying information.
Information that Lund is proud to display on the walls at his Paladin Press.
Home-built Claymore mines. What in the world is that all about?
Again, very straightforward, a descriptive title. Home-built Claymore mines, how you can make a Claymore mine at home.
What else do we have? Backyard rocketry. How to make a silencer for a .22.
Yes.
In other words, when you shoot this thing, you want to do it quietly when you're trying to murder somebody.
Or when you're trying to plink in your backyard and not want to disturb the neighbors. Absolutely.
Oh, I see. That's what it is, not disturbing.
I believe that we are standing up for the First Amendment and therefore standing up for everyone's right to purvey information, to purvey ideas freely without censorship.
Why do you publish these things?
It's market-driven, Mike.
Money.
Absolutely.
What you're saying is, no matter what pain is caused, I'm a defender of the First Amendment and my right to make money from these books.
I'm saying that ideas and knowledge don't kill people. People kill people.
What do you teach?
I'm a social studies teacher.
You know about the First Amendment.
I know about it and I believe in it. I support it. I teach about it. But I also believe that any right that you have, that there's a limit to it. So I don't think that when our forefathers wrote the Bill of Rights more than 200 years ago, that they had any intentions of it to include books on how to kill innocent people.
But Peter Lund strongly disagrees, and he's ready to fight the sisters in court for as long as it takes. And make no mistake, Lund likes a good fight. He's a Vietnam veteran who keeps a loaded .357 Magnum on his desk.
Green Beret?
Yes.
And you liked it?
I liked it very much. It was
Why?
a very, very fulfilling time in my life.
Lund's military background is evident in the catalog of videotapes that Paladin Press also sells. How to shoot for keeps at close quarters. How to make plastic explosives, even though it's illegal according to the package the tape comes in. And how to stalk and eliminate an enemy. Attorney Howard Siegel is representing the sisters of Mildred Horn in their fight against Peter Lund and Hitman.
You read this book in the context of how it's marketed in that catalog through Soldier of Fortune and the other books that are in there, and you will see that this guy goes out of his way to market to would-be assassins, terrorists, and psychopaths. Come one, come all. I've got something for every one of you.
You deal in car bombs, do you
We
not?
do books that show how to
make a car bomb.
Make car bombs, absolutely.
I asked Peter Lund how he would feel if terrorists used one of his books to plan a bombing like the one in Oklahoma City.
I feel no responsibility. I have no ethical responsibility for the misuse of information. That's what this whole issue is about, the misuse, the illegal use of information.
When the case eventually went to court, a judge in Maryland more or less agreed with Peter Lund, and he threw out the lawsuit filed by Mildred Horn's sisters. But after that, a federal appeals court ruled that Hitman was, quote, a murder manual, a training book for assassins. And the court ruled that the First Amendment did not protect Peter Lund from being sued by the three women. The Supreme Court of the United States let that ruling stand, and the case was sent back for a trial. Then, in late May, there was a stunning out-of-court settlement. As the sisters of Mildred Horn were gearing up to face Peter Lund in a trial by jury, he backed down. In a landmark legal development, Lund agreed to take Hitman off the market, and he also agreed to pay the sisters $5 million.
You satisfied with the settlement?
We're satisfied.
You said this was not about money.
It's about justice. It's about getting the book off the market so that we can make sure that it doesn't happen to another family. The damage to our family is done. Our family has...
And attorney Howard Siegel says Lund and his Paladin Press are now paying for all that damage.
These people were nothing but two-bit murderers. They were in business to attract and help murderers. That was their business. They bragged upon it. They said, we can do it because we're members of the press. And they were wrong. Talk to you later.
Attorney Martin Garbus has worked on hundreds of First Amendment cases defending the media, but he acknowledges it would have been difficult to defend Peter Lund.
He has become, as has Larry Flint before him, a great defender of the First Amendment by wrapping themselves in sleaze and money.
And this is sleaze?
Oh, yeah, sure.
Are you aware of any other case in history in which a publisher was forced to take a book off the market?
Not like this. No, not for this reason.
Garber says he's greatly disturbed by the outcome of this case and the precedent it could set.
The stuff that he follows in the book is basic stuff that you can get out of basically any movie. Namely, if you have a weapon, you disassemble it. If you have a weapon, you file away the serial numbers. You can get that out of a Schwarzenegger movie. You can get that out of a Steven Seagal movie.
Including shooting in the eyes?
Absolutely.
So the blood will not spatter?
Absolutely. Absolutely. You can go to Tom Clancy. You can go to John le Carré. You can go to In Cold Blood, Norman Mailer, Truman Capote, The Executioner, those things. You'll find all that there.
Is this a major defeat for the First Amendment?
A major defeat.
What effect do you imagine this is going to have on similar lawsuits in the future?
I think it'll be awful, because I think what it's telling people throughout the country, it's telling lawyers throughout the country, that you can file suits against the media, book companies, Bruce Willis films, Arnold Schwarzenegger films, and you will, if you go before a jury, in certain areas get a substantial verdict, and they're right.
Mr. Siegel, this is a big win for you and for your understanding of the First Amendment. Does it do any violence to the First Amendment?
None. Mike, the law is about drawing reasonable lines about human behavior. And the media doesn't have a unique constitutional right to aid and abet murder. Yet, incredibly, they got together, they supported Paladin, and they said, we do. We have rights no one else has because we're the media.
Fact is, many big media companies had filed court papers arguing forcefully that the First Amendment protected Hitman.
You're talking about the New York Times, for instance, the Washington Post, ABC, the National Association of Broadcasters, also the American Civil Liberties Union. All of these people were, in effect, friends of Peter Lund and Paladin Press, right?
They were all dead wrong. They knee-jerked, and they knee-jerked so hard that they hit themselves in their collective heads, and they lost common sense.
There seems to be a growing feeling in the country that the media, violent book, violent film, whatever, has to be held at least partially responsible for the violence in this country.
There is a feeling of that. For example, as a result of Columbine, as a result of the Athens, Georgia, President Clinton's remarks, there's a feeling that the media is to some extent responsible. And it's a way of avoiding the real issue, namely that it's guns, guns, guns. Perry did this killing because he had access to a gun. Columbine is because the kids have access to guns. Georgia is because the kids have access to guns.
We took a stand. We said, this book does not have a place in our society. We as a society have to evaluate what worth is this violence to our children, and then we need to draw a line.
You've talked about media arrogance. What do you mean, media arrogance?
I mean the media taking the position that we can assist in the commission of crimes, and you can't touch us because we're the media, because we're the protectors of the First Amendment. Well, you're wrong. You're not the protectors of the First Amendment. These women are the protectors of the First Amendment. These women established that the First Amendment is there to protect ideas, not to protect those who would assist murderers and terrorists.
After the legal settlement, Paladin Press announced it would withdraw Hitman from its catalog, but not before Peter Lund's company said it sold its remaining 700 copies. It seems that Hitman had become a collector's item. Well, that does not mean, though, that the book is no longer available. When Peter Lund ran out of copies, a self-proclaimed anarchist group, which claims its goal is to eliminate the federal government, posted the text of Hitman on its internet website.